Saddest Night Out, episode 487, Friday, 14th of March. Link in bio to find me. Okay, I've got a little bit of explaining to do. Bear with me. First of all, Chris mentioned only knowing the band The Sounds from the 2010 release, and I'll be honest, confession time, because this feels like a safe space, we've gotten to know each other. I only know the Swedish band The Sound from that one song, Tony the Beat. That song was a hit in the right circles. It blended in with all the other stuff that I was into at that time. Anything they did before or after, I'm completely unaware. I'm sure it's great. Maybe it's awful. I don't know. It's funny how we can have a bit of a natural filtration system when it comes to music. There's some artists that you like for one album, some you like for one song, some you like for a lifetime. And then there's that strange feeling when you find that that filtration system was wrong and there's a wealth of good stuff out there that you've been missing. And there's a slight hint of like, oh man, I'm late, I've missed out. But then also, now I can hear it for the first time. And I've got all of this to look forward to. Just wanted to cover that. Now, I thought this was episode 489, which would mean after this episode, I'd have 10 episodes left to get to 500. And I was thinking about how when I get to 500, I might put all of the first 500, or at least the first 499, behind a paywall or something, like a Patreon paywall, just as soon as I figure out how to actually make that a thing. And I was thinking about how I was running out of memory space on my phone, so I had to delete a bunch of videos I still had from my open mic days. And then I thought, this podcast, I guess, will act as the time capsule from that time, because I did a bunch of episodes at the open mics back in the day, where I interviewed some of the artists that played those open mic nights. And then I just found myself thinking, when did I actually start this podcast? And sure enough, episode 1 of Saddest Night Out is the 13th of March, 2018. 7 years ago to the day, yesterday, when I was going to do this episode, but then time got away from me and I thought I'd do it tomorrow instead. So not only did I miss the day of the actual anniversary, but as you will now see from looking on whatever podcast app you're looking on, this isn't episode 489. It's actually episode 487. I had made a couple of notes for other episodes that I was going to do, but didn't get around to doing. And so when I started making the notes for this one, I followed up from those essentially unpublished episodes. So there was a 487 and a 488, which would make this 489. And I've only just realized that, wait a minute, those episodes don't actually exist. So that was a very roundabout way of saying something that matters to absolutely no one except the 3 of you that are listening to this. So this is the only place I can share this. Thank you for putting up with me boring you. Folks, it's been 7 years since I started this podcast. And I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like there's a change afoot. It feels like there's something in the air and things are going to be a little bit different around here. Once I crossed the threshold of the 500, I was actually first considering deleting the first 499 episodes, maybe even the first 500, and just starting with 501 afresh. But I don't know. I've put in so much time. We've put in so much time, because yes, I've made them, but some of you have been listening to them. So it feels rude is the only word that comes to mind, to just delete all of that for the sake of it. Those early episodes are a weird headspin, though. I haven't listened to them in forever. I don't know if I ever will. Maybe if I really find myself stranded with nothing to do, I'll give myself the task of listening to all of this from episode 1. But I haven't listened back to those episodes in a long time. I haven't kept in touch with almost anyone from those days. And a lot of the links that are in the notes for those episodes don't work anymore. In fact, I've had the odd person ask me to remove an episode, actually, where I've interviewed them. And then they've said, yeah, I'm not really doing music anymore. Would you mind deleting that episode? Because I'm trying to just erase all of it. And I'll of course oblige, but I can't lie, it's a little bit heartbreaking. It's understandable entirely, but it is just a touch heartbreaking that, there goes another one. I remember at the time feeling like, oh, this is it. I stumbled upon something. No one else has discovered this. I'm going to be the one that puts all of this on the map, and we're all going to, I don't know. We're all going to become millionaires. We're all going to become superstars or something. Here we are 7 years later. I don't know how many of the people I interviewed are still making music. Them's the breaks. That is very much reality. 2018 feels like a good couple of centuries ago. January 1st, 2025 feels like a good couple of centuries ago. Things are moving very weirdly. And I want to finally try and actually catch the wave instead of just feeling like I'm being crushed underneath it. I don't yet know what that looks like, but I'm putting it out there to just reaffirm my commitment. At least from 500 onwards, we're going straight to the moon. But in these few episodes, be it 10 episodes or 13 episodes, however many, if I can actually keep accurate counts up until then, this is the quiet before the storm. This is me almost relishing just being chill about this and just being very casual, rambling. You know how some people, I think it's been said that if you have plants, it is healthy to talk to your plants. That's almost what this feels like. I appreciate you guys, commenting and knowing that there's someone out there listening. It's very flattering when I put an episode up at, say, 6 p.m. and then at 6:03, I get a notification saying there's a comment already. That's very sweet of you folks. You don't have to do that, but I am very grateful that you do. But it can feel a little bit like I'm just talking to my plants because there's no immediate feedback. But that might not be the case going forward after episode 500. So this is me just languishing in that for now. Meanwhile, I talked about stuff I'm into lately in the last episode, 486. There's a few things I've missed out. A couple of songs that are getting heavy repeat, which feels good because it's been a while since I've really been into anything musically, strictly music. The first is the song Drakkar Noir by Phoenix. After mentioning them on that last episode and remembering that, yeah, I love this song, and they never play the full thing when they play it live. They play another song and then transition into the ending of this song. But the whole song is so good, in fact, I just might play it when I go live next. So that's one song I've had on repeat, Drakkar Noir by Phoenix from their album Bankrupt. The other one is by a little Irish band called Inhaler, and it's called Billy, in brackets, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. It almost feels like it could be a Phoenix song, which I mean as an incredibly high compliment, but I'm also finding myself thinking, wait, does this mean I'm a fan of Inhaler now? I had my eye on Inhaler, I can't even remember how far back it is now, but I remember they played a show at Seabright Arms in London, which I think is maybe like 100 cap venue, 150, and it was Jack Saunders, who's now the Radio 1 DJ. He's taken the Zane Lowe, Clara Amfo, Annie Mac slot of new music. He put on a night, he had a regular night called Hopscotch, and Inhaler played it. And it might have been 2018, actually, when I thought, oh, okay, this seems interesting. But this song, I don't know where they pulled this out of. This song, 20 years ago, would have been like Golden Touch by Razorlight, just a song that can really catapult you. And yet, I don't even know if it's a single. I think it's just an album track that I happened to stumble upon. But it's getting heavy replay. Also, Sugar Babes are back with their song Jungle. And honestly, I'm just glad they're back and sounding as good as ever. I still hold the song Flatline dear to my heart. It was, I think, the last song they released before they got the name Sugar Babes back for the original 3. So they were going by MKS, Mattia, Keisha, Siobhan. It's a good song. I think Flatline is still the high watermark for me, but I'm just glad there's more music coming. And then there's the artist Twin Shadow, who is someone I really love, particularly that first album, Forget. He's got a new album out called Georgie. I think the whole album is drumless. I think the bass, whether it's bass guitar or cello, gets quite a lot of spotlight. But this guy just finds the most earworm melodies. I don't know where he plucks them from, but he always uses them to maximum effect. I can see myself checking this album out, which might be the first album I've listened to in full for a while. I think I mentioned on here at some point that my number one artist for 2024 was the comedian John Mulaney. I was listening to more stand-up comedy to fall asleep to than I was actual music. So maybe this is the year that the tides turn a little bit. Also, Haim are back. I made a video about them, I think last year, saying the time is nigh. We need our Haim, because there is a 2013 shaped hole in the pop culture that is perfect for them to satisfy. And lo and behold, they have. Their song, Relationships, another earworm. Feels a little unconventional, but it sticks in there. Anyway, I thought this was episode 489. I'll keep the original title, only 10 away from 500, but not really. Thank goodness I caught it before I just pressed upload. We will get to 500. We will get to 500 before the end of this month. And thank you for sticking by me for these first 500 episodes. Stay tuned, folks. That's all I'll say for now. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next one, whatever episode number that is. And until then, take care.